It's not looks, money, or status, but instead it's this. This is the one thing that makes you instantly more attractive, hands down. Yes, I know we all talk about, especially me, how you need to be the best looking guy, you need to have the most amount of money, you need to have the most amount of status. Yes, you hear this all the time, and even I tell you guys this all the time. You need to upgrade who you are as a character, like if you were playing a video game. You don't want to stay at level 1, you want to reach the highest level is on that video game that you're talking about, right? But the one thing that most people don't ever understand or don't really ever talk about too much is this one thing that actually makes you instantly more attractive, that doesn't have to deal with looks, doesn't have to deal with money, doesn't even have to deal with status. It's not any of those things, but instead it's actually your ability to take rejection. Most people don't talk about this because most people, let's keep it a buck, let's keep it 100. Most people don't like getting rejected, don't like taking rejection, let alone like taking an L. Most people don't like that. And it's understandable. We all want to win. We all want to feel, empowered. We all want to feel like we're the man, we're the woman. We all want to feel like that. And I be wanting to feel the exact same way too. But the thing that actually makes you instantly more attractive versus your competition, versus the entire rest of the world, is actually your ability to take rejection as a fucking G. Being able to take rejection, being able to be told no, being able to take an L is actually one of the most attractive things that you can have as an individual. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't fucking matter. Your ability to take a rejection, to take, an L, to take accountability for a mistake, for an error, whatever it is, a loss, that actually puts you in a much better position, because now people are not going to associate you with being like a sore loser. We all know that person, or like whenever you were in like middle school or in elementary, whenever we would have field day, that one person who whenever they lost like a game or they lost a competition, they would always get butthurt about this. They would always throw like a tantrum. They would always, do the most because they never understood how to take rejection, how to take a loss, how to take an L. And whenever we would see that, or at least for me, in my case at least, whenever I would see that, I would pretty much like lose all respect for that individual, because it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Sometimes we win, which is incredible, which is amazing. We all want to win, but sometimes we're gonna take an L. We're gonna lose a couple times. We're gonna get hit. We're gonna get knocked down. But it's our responsibility to be able to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get back on the horse. The horse doesn't fall. It just trips sometimes. And sometimes it trips a lot. But the ability of an individual to take rejection, to take a loss, to own up to a mistake, take an L, that is the most attractive thing that you can have as an individual, regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. It's the most attractive thing, hands down. Because now, not only are you proving to yourself that you're okay with not always getting your way, you're showing the rest of the world that you're not gonna let a simple loss, a simple defeat define who you are. Sometimes we win, and it's great when we win. Whenever we get that trophy, whenever we get that recognition that we wanted, it's great. It feels amazing. We feel that high, and we want to be given our flowers. But what about whenever we take an L? What about whenever we take rejection, when we take defeat? What about that? Most people, what they do is that whenever they take an L, whenever they take rejection, whenever they take a loss, they define themselves in that moment. They say, oh, well, I just wasn't good enough, or this person or X person didn't like me, or they just like somebody else better instead of me, even though I was better. And they just get salty. They just start talking bad about other people and other individuals, and it ends up making them look even worse in the long run, because they weren't able to take rejection. They weren't able to go ahead and take that defeat. And these usually are some of the worst losers and the worst winners, because whenever they win, they put it in your face and brag about it to the world. And whenever they take an L, they're talking shit all over the internet and doing the most. But your ability to take rejection, to take an L, to take a loss shouldn't be what defines you. We're all gonna take an L, we're all gonna take defeat, we're all gonna take rejection at some point or another. It's not always going to be a high or a win or a W. We're gonna have those lows as well. We're gonna have those defeats, but it shouldn't be in these moments where we define ourselves. That is the problem that most people have, because because whenever they have a loss, whenever they have a rejection, they try to use that situation and define who they are in that moment. No, it's not a bad life. You don't have a bad life. It's just a bad moment, and that's okay. Everybody has bad moments, but you shouldn't define yourself and define who you are as an individual in these moments. Yes, we can change that. We can change our circumstances. We can change this. Maybe it might not be in that instance. Maybe it might take us a little bit of time, but we can definitely change that. And we shouldn't let a bad moment or a bad situation define who we are as an individual. We should use these as learning moments for ourselves in order to know exactly how to level up our own selves so that we don't end up taking the same L again. Think about it. Whenever you're playing a video game and you get basically to like one of the boss levels, you don't want to keep losing to the same boss over and over and over again. You don't want to keep doing that. You force yourself to try to figure out a way in order to beat the boss so that you can go ahead and move on with the game and get on to the next level. If we stopped playing the game once we got to the first boss and we never tried to beat that level, we would never be able to progress into the rest of the video game or to the next level and so forth. It's the same thing when it comes to life. We don't have to let these moments define who we are, that we're not talented, we're not intellectually smart, we're not gifted, we're not capable of doing whatever it is that we were attempting on doing. All we have to do now, go back to the drawing board, rethink what did we do that was right, what did we do that was wrong, and how can we change this? What can we do differently so that this doesn't happen again, or at least we can do our best so that it doesn't happen again? What can we do differently? What can we learn? What did we see that actually worked for us so that we can keep it and just throw out whatever it is that didn't work? We don't have to keep anything that didn't work. We can replace it and throw it in the trash. But it's this ability for an individual to be able to take rejection, to be able to take a loss, to be able to take defeat, take it on the chin and not be defined by it. Don't let yourself define who you are as an individual in these moments. Use them as something to learn from, to grow from, and to improve into leveling up who you are as an individual. We will win once again, but it was our turn to go ahead and take a loss. It was our turn now to let somebody else have their shine, have their moment, but we will have ours once again. And this too shall pass. So anytime you're in a bad moment, you feel like, man, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this shit isn't working for me, or like, I don't know what to do. Just remind yourself. Very simple, a very easy phrase you can remind yourself whenever you're in these situations. Just tell yourself and remind yourself, it's okay. This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. No relationship lasts forever. Money doesn't last forever. Life doesn't even last forever. Everything has an expiration date. And this bad moment that we're dealing with right now will have an expiration date as well. And it too shall pass. So if you stuck around to the end, I really appreciate you. Don't stop watching now. Make sure you go watch my most recent upload. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video. I'm gonna see you boys in the next one. Peace.